All right, and so it begins. The Bally Star Trek Chronicles. This is Callan Star Trek. He has a populated playfield that's new and populated and ready to go. Now we just need a cabinet. So that's going to be the plan, is for me to paint this bad boy, get it ready. And I have some huge plans for it. They're pretty ambitious for amateur pinball restoration, but you know what? Go big or go home, right? So in a minute, I'm gonna bust this thing out. It's Labor Day weekend. I've got a long weekend, so we're gonna try to see how much of this sucker I can get bondoed, sanded, primered, ready for paint. And if we're fortunate, maybe next weekend I can actually do the painting on it. Now, as we come around and look at it here, you'll see here's the inside, and we'll get a better look when we're in the sun. But for the moment, just notice, you know, there's still wiring and stuff in here. I was hoping it was going to be a bare cabinet when he brought it, just to make it quicker and easier for me to get this thing started. But no worries, I can strip all that out. Same thing with the head. It's got the parts in there. And the head's a little heavy, so for being a head. So I'm going to take all that stuff out in a minute, and like I say, you'll get to see the action on that. Really exciting stuff. But that's going to be the plan, man. If things work out well, I'd love to have this thing ready to paint next weekend, because that way next weekend I can go ahead and throw down the black base and then take that no-con blue that came in, and I can mix that with some intercoat, which also came in, and then we'll spray that down, get that blackish blue, that midnight blue on it. And then once that's on there, we'll turn around and immediately spray the clear coat and lock that in. And once we're to that point, then we'll be ready to talk about the stencils, which we do have, thanks to Pinball Pimp. He has got us stencils here. Show you here. This is just one of them. That's the side of the head here. And apparently Callan's had these for a long while. But I checked them the other day just because we were worried about the stickiness, and honestly didn't want to have to buy another set if we don't have to. You know, we're not, I'm not trying to cheap it up, but I mean, if we needed new ones, if they're not good enough, then I think this paint job would be worthy of getting new decals if needed. But I don't think they're going to be necessary. So I think those are going to work just fine. But anyway, so I'm going to bust this out, and we're going to take a closer look at it, and then I will remove all the parts and get all the Bondo and then the sanding done, or well, started anyway. Today's Friday, so we'll see how far I get this weekend. I've got other obligations around the town, so meaning town as in my house. And so because of that, I'm going to have to be somewhat careful with my time. All right, let's start this chapter off by looking at the head here. I want to also use this as any kind of documentation for myself in case I'm putting it back together and can't remember which screw was which or what went where or whatever. I'd like to say that never happens. I mean, but I haven't done a lot of restorations, and frankly, even if I have, so what? I like to have the ability to go back and look. It just makes guesswork easier sometimes. You know, I've never seen this before, but I like that. Look how they got these little straps right here, these little ground straps. You know, normally like in normal WPC, you have to run the strap across from one end to the other. I like that, how that just kind of connects that way. That's pretty cool. Of course, it's also got a whole metal plate there, but I digress. That's just pretty neat. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but I don't do, this will be my first game that's not an 80s or up, so this will be interesting for me to learn a little more too along the way. Yeah, we'll get this all cleaned up. I'll probably leave it up to Callan to get that cage cleaned or powder coated or whatever he wants to do with it. But I'm going to take all this apart here in a second. I'm going to also try to save the stickers, in the sense that I'm not going to save these, or not stickers, I'm sorry, the descriptions here. I'm going to pull those out and probably scan them and have some nice ones printed and made. Same thing here. I mean, if we're going to do all this, we might as well pull all this out. I mean, I could go and just tape it off right here, you know, and go around and leave all the inside untouched. And I'm not going to lie, that is kind of tempting. But to be honest, with the paint job I plan on doing, man, it almost doesn't do it justice if I don't go in there and really go for the inside too. So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do, because that's just honestly how I do things. Most of the time anyway, I tend to over-engineer, I tend to overthink and everything else. So no doubt we're going to definitely take this and give it the treatment. I think Callan called it the Damon treatment the other day. Kind of made me laugh, but it's kind of catchy. So we'll give it the Damon treatment. I guess when this cabinet's done, if it turns out really spectacular, the Damon treatment will mean something. If I don't do so great, then we'll call it something else. All right, I'm gonna get a close look at this real quick. I just wanna know where everything goes back, so if I end up putting it back together, I'll know where it goes. If Callan puts it back together, I ain't worried about it. He'll know right where everything goes. And it just kind of, some of it'll depend on how busy I am once the cabinet's finished, whether I do it or he does it. So, at any rate, let's just kind of follow the harness around here. Back off a little, kind of just see how all this sits. Okay, that goes right here, but here's all the rest of the harness is obviously out there. So let's kind of turn around and we'll come here. Take a look at the brackets that hold all the game boards and all that kind of cool stuff. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't mind even keeping these originals if you wanted to, even though the cabinet's going to be new. I mean, you know, in a patina type thought, you could keep all these decals. Except for these, they're on the actual wood, so I'm going to have to decide if I'm going to keep those or not. And if you change those out, unfortunately, these are all faded, so you have to change those too. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm half tempted to really just tape off this inside and not mess with this the more I look at it. We'll see what I take off. I'm going to kind of get started here now. Let me get us back on the tripod. And let's go ahead and get started with this, taking this thing apart. At least somewhat. We'll kind of see where it leads. Okay. There we go. All right, let's see where this leads here. Well, it looks like rain around here, but I'm going to go ahead and try to see what I can do about getting this head sanded and ready for Bondo, because I hate to just put Bondo on it as is. It's so dirty, and just, I wouldn't mind giving it a light sanding and then use pencil and mark spots. Now, this whole back needs Bondo. I mean, you can probably see it there. I mean, see all that wood grain? I'll never get rid of all that wood grain without sanding it, but it looks like some of that's coming off and it's getting smoother. So we'll sand that first. Now I've got these little areas. I'm gonna try to figure out how I'm gonna fill those in, because I hate to just leave that. I mean, I could leave that and paint it, but that's not gonna look good. If I'm trying to make this thing look really good, why wouldn't I make the back look good too? That was my complaint, if I had one, about, I know Merco's trying to make those cabinets and sell them. Sounds great, but then they're using the plywood on the back, but then they're just painting it, and they're not getting rid of the wood grain or anything, and so it looks like crap. So hopefully, I mean, I've got that urethane that's a high build solids. So I mean, it's possible that high build urethane might fill a lot of that in on that grain area, but man, I don't know. I hate to trust that. But then again, I hate to think about putting the whole thing of Bondo on there. But I mean, I could just do like a really light, thin skin skim coat you know, just to kind of fill that in, because it does have some spots like this too. These are going to need to be filled in a little bit. I don't want to try to sand that down on these edges. They'll need to be filled in. So yeah,